Why is the expectation that a woman has to take a husband's last name? Like, why is that the expectation? Like, Garcia is the only thing that links me to my Mexicanness, because when people see me, they assume I'm a fat liar. And it's like, I'm not gonna change my last name. Why should I have to? Why should I have to do all the paperwork? That doesn't make any sense. You know how much work it is? There are services you can hire that will do this for you because it's so much freaking work to change your last name. Why should I do that? I like my name. Hey guys, it's Elena. I have tried recording this video like 4 times, but I realized that I am a horrible storyteller. I am a horrible fucking storyteller because I go all over the place. And so I'm gonna sit here now and try to do this story, this one full kind of stream of thought that is consecutive and consistent with the story that I'm trying to tell, because otherwise it'll make no sense to nobody. So let's get started. I am doing a story time video today to kind of show you guys, or share with you guys my wedding story. And it all started because I was chatting with one of my subby friends here on YouTube. I was chatting with her on Snapchat, and we were going, talking about a bunch of stuff, and then she brought up Garrett and my engagement ring, and so we started chatting about that a little bit, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to do a video to kind of showcase all of this. And so here I am doing my wedding story for you guys. So let's start at the very beginning, when this face was the ripe age of 21 and just entering her senior year of college. I was, finishing my thesis papers, finishing all of that stuff to kind of get out of university and start my master's program. And so I had moved in to an apartment with a friend, and he was older. He had already graduated and was in the workforce, and he is still one of my dearest friends in the whole world, but he's batshit crazy, and I love him for it, but I cannot live with that. No. And so I moved in with him during the summer before my senior year of college, and we lived together for not even 6 months, because we just got into so many fights. In particular, here's an example of one of the fights that we got into. So he was a neat freak, and I'm also a neat freak, and I'm super tidy, and I like to put my stuff away and everything. But he takes it to another level. And he had vacuumed, and I was walking from my bedroom to the kitchen, and as I'm walking, because I'm a human, and I have to use my legs to do that, he starts like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "You're fucking up my vacuum lines," because he had just vacuumed. And I was like, "What am I supposed to do? I can't hover. I don't have the ability to I have to and so it was those types of arguments that finally got the better of me. And I was trying to work on my thesis papers. I was trying to do schoolwork. I was also in my senior year, so I was trying to party. And he was messing up my flow, if you know what I mean. And so I finally sat down and had a talk with him, and I was like, "Honey, I need to go. Otherwise we're going to lose our friendship." And he agreed, and so I moved out of the apartment. And it's actually really sucky because his apartment was sick. It was a huge 4-bedroom apartment. It had views of the Golden Gate Bridge. It was right by the ocean. It was an amazing apartment. So I was sad to go, but for my own mental health, it was best. And in college, throughout my tenure, undergrad, I was a speech and debater. So I was part of a collegiate speech and debate team. I know what you're thinking right now. You're so cool, Elena. I'm like, I know, I am. It was so cool even that before, during the summer, I went to speech and debate camp at Arizona State University in Arizona, lived there for a month or a little less than a month. I lost my retainer in the hotel that we stayed at. The cleaning lady threw it away, I think. No, the coolest person you know. So I was on the speech and debate team, and I was really close with all of my team members as we we were known as a debate squad. So before Taylor Swift had her squad, I had mine. So compare those two, if you will. Imagine speech and debate and our squad versus Taylor Swift and her squad of supermodels. So, so my level of cool was looking for a new place to live, and one of my speech and debate team members was like, "Hey, I live in a house." It was a guy, and he's like, "I live in a house with 5 other guys, and one of our guys is moving out. So, hey, Snow White, if you want to come and move in with the 5 dwarves, we have an opening." Awesome. And he lived in a big, beautiful house. We used to call it 369. Because that was like the numbers of the address. So we used to call it 369. And one of those 5 guys that lived in the house was Garrett. And so when I moved in, I basically went eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And no, I'm kidding. That's not how it worked. Do you imagine? Oh my God. And so I lived in a house with these 5 guys, and I moved into the house with these 5 guys, and everything was great. Like, they had the party house. Like, before I even moved in, I would go and like party at their house all the time, and like I knew all the guys before I moved in. One of the newest guy in the house, and I had met him before I moved in, was Garrett. And when he was first moving in, this is when I was still living with my crazy roommate, who is my friend. And I hope he doesn't watch this. I mean, I call him crazy to his face, so it's fine. But Garrett moved in while I was still living with my other roommate, and my teammate from my speech and debate team, before Garrett moved in, like sent me a picture, and I was like, "This is our new roommate that's moving in." I'm like so excited to have him like move in, and I was like when I saw the picture, I was like, "Yeah, so am I." Let me fix my hair real quick. Because I thought he was so cute. And so I told my friend that. I was like, "Oh my God, he's so fucking cute." And he's like, "Hold your horses, bitch. He's not that into you." And I was like, "You haven't even seen me." And he's like, "No, you're like totally not his type. And he just got out of a relationship with another girl, and she was like fly as fuck." And I was like, "What am I? Hot piece of ass. Thank you." And then he did not agree. So obviously, I was a little disappointed about that, but by the time I decided to move into this house, in my mind, Garrett was like not an option, like he was 100% a friend, because one, my speech and debate team member had basically told me I was out of my league. Dick. But also too, like, we had hung out before, and like we had just developed a friendship, and so when I moved into the house, Garrett was nothing more than my friend, just like the other 4 guys that were living in the house at the time. And so all of them, they were just my friends. And I think it's actually really interesting, because I am not the type of girl that is friends with boys. Not at all. Like, I am a girl's girl. I have nothing in common with guys at all. In fact, quite honestly, most of the time when guys are talking, I'm like, shut up. Like, I do not have it. Like, if I was single and I needed to find a guy, I'd probably like just be alone and like get a bunch of dogs or something. Or like cats or whatever, because zero in common with the male species. But with these particular guys, like, they were just like girls. I mean, they weren't gay. One of them was, but like, they were just like regular. Like, they wasn't like, I don't know. They weren't like dudes, you know what I mean? Like her bros. They weren't like that, and so it made it really easy to get along with them. And so, I lived with them, and I was actually dating somebody else at the time, and we had been dating for quite a while, but it was like on and off again. So like, we'd be dating for like a minute, and then we'd not be dating, and then we'd be dating for like a minute, and then we'd not be dating, and this had been going on for 8 years. I know. But then finally, one day we got on the phone with, um, with one another, and we were like fighting, and like he brought out the crazy in me. And like, I'm a little crazy, but like he brought out the like crazy, like, I'm gonna wear your skin crazy kind of like psychopath. And I was like, nope. And so even one of my roommates was like, you need to get the fuck away from this. And it's like, I'll never forget that. Like, conversation that I had with him where he's like, look, I'm a dude. I'm going to tell you now, you sound like a crazy girl. And he's like, I know that he's crazy. And so he brings the crazy out in you. And so it's not just you that's crazy, like he's crazy too. But as my friend, I have to tell you, stop being crazy. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. And so basically that was the end of that relationship. And like I like declared it to the house. I was like, I'm done with that dick. And they were like, good for you. And so then Garrett and I started hanging out more and more and more. And then not even like 2 weeks after I made my declaration, Garrett and I started dating, like boy-girl dating, you know, like, hey, kind of whatever, and like took our relationship to the next level. I know. And at this point, it is the spring. I am a minute away from graduating. At least I think it's. So we also don't celebrate anniversaries in our relationship. I'm like, we're crazy. We don't do anything like normal. And so I have no idea when we actually started dating. No clue. But I do know that it was right before my graduation from. I'm pretty sure it was right before my graduation from college. Because after I graduated, I spent the summer in San Francisco, but then in the fall, I moved down to Malibu to go to Pepperdine University and begin my master's program. The problem with that is that I hated it, basically. I went there for a very particular major, and the professors that I had were just not focusing on the part of the curriculum that I was hoping to really get an education in. And so I was just not having a good time there. But for the one semester that I did live down in Malibu, every single weekend, Garrett would drive down from San Francisco to Malibu, which is like an 8-hour, 7-hour drive. And he would drive down every single weekend to be with me. Every single weekend. So imagine that's like a semester's 4 months. There's 4 weekends in a month. So 4 times 4 is more math than I can do, but it was a lot. And so like we had only been dating at that point for like 3-4 months. And so by the time we were 8 months in, we were like in love. And like he was like so romantical, and he drove down every single weekend, and I was like, you are so magical. And of course I thought he was like a hot piece of ass too, so that helped. And so after I finished at Pepperdine and I transferred to a new university, I moved back up to Northern California and was able to finish my master's up here in a different program. And so when I moved back up from Malibu, Garrett was like, I'm going to leave 369 and I'm going to move in with you. Like we made that. It wasn't like he was like telling me. It was like we made that decision together. And so we had been dating for like 8 or 9 months, and we moved in together. I know, I would not recommend that to anybody at all, because it's like, I don't know, you know the words? It's just like, it's so fast, but for us it worked. We were lucky it worked. And yeah, I'm a little bit crazy, like I said, but not all the way crazy, and so like it works for us. So we moved in together, and you know, fast forward 10 years to where we are now, which is engaged. And we've been engaged now for 2 years. So 8 years into our relationship, we were living in New York. And at this point, we had lived in China together. We lived in San Francisco. We lived in Southern California. And we were currently living in New York. And so we've been together for 8 years. I was 100% content in our relationship. I had no plans, no anything for this kind of commitment. Like I was happy. Like we were both happy. Like there was no need to be married. And so it was 8 years in, like I said, and we decided to drive up to upstate New York for to go apple picking. It was September, it was the fall, and it's something that people in Manhattan and New York do. Like they escape the city and they go apple picking because I know, it's like so fucking cheesy. But the reason we really wanted to go was because this one particular orchard, which I can't remember the name of it, supposedly had the best apple cider donuts anywhere. And I will say, they were pretty fucking good. And that's why we drove up to go apple picking in upstate New York so we could get some fucking donuts, even though we lived across the street from a Dunkin'. Oh. And so we drove up there, we were like going through the orchard, and we were like making fun of people, and like literally I had no clue what was about to happen. This is how you know. because I was wearing denim overalls, a thermal shirt, a giant, like a baseball jacket, you know, like those like oversized baseball jackets that like don't really fit anybody, and a beanie that belonged to Garrett that said like Corel, or like, you know, like some like crazy like construction worker brand, and it was a gray beanie. My thermal was like a cream color, my jacket was like a blue color, my overalls, and then I was wearing like sneakers, like a Converse sneakers. Like I was looking a hot mess. Like, but I was like, who cares? I'm gonna have donuts. Like, let's just drive out there and get some donuts. So we're out there, we're like making fun of people. I look like a crazy person dressed like a homeless man. And we get to this part of the orchard that has like a river, and it's like super scenic and pretty. And I was like, I'm gonna take a picture. I'm gonna Instagram this shit. And so there I am, pulling my phone out, getting ready to take this fucking picture. And all of a sudden I hear Garrett go, Elena. And so like I turn around and he is on one knee in the fucking dirt. And my immediate reaction is, what the fuck are you doing? You're gonna dirty your pants. Those are nice, like they were like rag and bone jeans. I was like, get your ass up. And all of a sudden he pulls up a ring, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And I'm like, get up, get up, get up. Like I didn't know what to do. I started like freaking out. I'm like not good with dealing with like seriously emotional moments. Like I don't handle it well. Like I start laughing at things, like somebody dies, and I'm like, you know, and it's like not appropriate. And so like that's what's happening in my face. And Garrett like gets up and he's like freaking out, but he like, you know, he still officially asks me, and of course I say yes because I'm like madly in love with him, and I'm like, I'll do whatever you tell me, just don't dirty your jeans because they're expensive. And, and so I was like so excited, and it turned out that he had like asked my mom and my dad ahead of time. Actually, that's not true. He had asked my mom. My dad like barely speaks English, so he was like really intimidated by my dad, and so he hadn't officially asked my dad. And so on the ride home, I wanted to call my parents, and he's like, I haven't asked your dad. I was like, you better fucking call him and ask him right now. And so we called and asked him, and then like an hour later, once we got back to our apartment, I called and told my parents. And they were like, oh yeah. Nobody knows that story, including my parents. Hopefully they don't see this. Anyway, my friends knew ahead of time. Like he had reached out to one of my girlfriend's husbands to see where do you buy engagement rings, and so like got some guidance on that. So everybody knew except for me, and I get it. Like he wanted it to be a surprise, but part of the reason I didn't know is because genuinely, marriage was never something that Garrett and I like talked about. Like it was never something that like we've been together. I know that it's crazy because like you were together for 8 years, but it was like literally it was the farthest thing from my mind. Like we lived in China, like we traveled, like we were so busy like living life that marriage was just never something that came up in conversation. And what I think was going through Garrett's mind, and he's gonna be so mad for me saying this, but whatever, like it's what I think, and our relationship is still solid. But basically what it was is that Garrett knew this opportunity in California was going to be coming, and he knew that I wouldn't go with him, like, you know, but like now he's got me ball and chained up, and I have no choice, and I had to go to California. No, but that's what I think. That's what I think it was, is that he knew he was going to be taking this big step, and so he wanted to make sure that I was like on the journey with him. But yeah. And so that's how I got engaged. And now it's been 2 years later, and I have not planned any aspect at all of my wedding because, like I said, wedding was just never something that we thought about, like ever. At least it was definitely nothing that I ever thought about. Like growing up, I never planned my wedding. I never looked at wedding dresses. I never went to a wedding and thought, I want to be her. Like that was never, like I picked out the dress that I would wear when I accepted my Academy Award more often than I ever picked out a wedding dress. Because I genuinely never picked out a wedding dress. And I'm also not an actress. So like that lets you know where my mind state was. Like I cannot wait to win an Academy Award for nothing because I'm not an actor. But like that I was not a wedding girl at all. And so when it came time to actually start planning this wedding, like I had no interest. I had no like drive. I didn't care. Like I would, like all my friends would be like, just go on Pinterest and like pin things. And I'd like go on Pinterest and I'd be like, this doesn't seem that exciting. Like I'd rather throw a Halloween party because those are fun and you get candy. Like that's what I'd rather do. And so I never really planned a wedding. It was never really anything that like I don't know. It just, and like, okay, what I'm about to say is going to be incredibly unpopular, and so I'm sorry. And if you had a beautiful wedding and you were a beautiful bride or a handsome groom, like, congratulations. This is, what I'm about to say is no reflection on you and the ceremony that you chose to participate in. What I'm talking about now is solely about me. And it's basically that I think the institution of marriage is a bunch of shit. And this is why. And this is why. And it's a bunch of shit for me. And this is why. Because when the institution of marriage began a bajillion years ago, it was a father selling his daughter to the highest bidder. And the traditions have obviously evolved, and the institution has dramatically changed, especially in this last year. So that's not what it is anymore. But the rituals that you're doing are still the same. Not, I mean, not entirely, but it's like your father walks you down the aisle, gives you away to your partner. It's like, first off, I am nobody's property to be given away. Second off, like, no, no. And it's like, I don't know, like, I don't really want to be a part of that. I don't really want to do that. And so I've always just kind of like shunned it. And also too, I find that marriage should be a really intimate moment between two partners, and these big dramatic kind of weddings, which is like the expectation, are a little overwhelming for me, because I do think that they are really intimate. I do think that they should be private between just the two people that are participating in the union. And I understand that, there's religion. Like, I'm Catholic. I get it. Like, I even told Garrett, it's important for me to get married. If we do get married, like, it's important for me to get married in a church because I am Catholic, and it's important for me to make that union with God. Like, I get that. But at the same time, like, all of my education and all of my knowledge is like, no, no, no. And I also, like, I give so much bad anxiety. Like, my mom flew Garrett and I to Spain to meet with a wedding planner, and I was like meeting with her, and I, like, every venue that she would show me, I'd be like, and I would get like like rash, like I started like hyperventilating, like, I am not a good bride. And even now, when I talk to like my best friend, who I was like, "Will you be my maid of honor?" Like, she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "So what's the plan?" I'm like, because it's just like, things are so good. Like, obviously Garrett and I have our fights and we have our issues and we have our problems, but things are so good that, like, why? Like, why fuck it up? Like, let's just ride this out, till death do us part, but we've made the commitment to each other, and I trust Garrett, and I know he trusts me, and I know without a doubt in my mind that he would never do anything to hurt me, and I would never do anything to hurt him. And if that were to ever change, like, I feel like we know how to communicate with one another. Sometimes not great, but like, we're getting there, and we know how to communicate with each other in a way that we can express all the things. And I don't know, like, I don't know. I don't really think a marriage is necessary. Like, I don't think a wedding is necessary. I understand that for business purposes, a lot of times getting married is important, tax things and whatnot, protecting yourself and your assets. So I get that. But that's not, I feel like if I'm going to have a wedding, that's not why I should be having a wedding, because I see it as a business decision. We can get a marriage license and do that at City Hall, and I'd be 100% okay with that. And also, when he, like, proposed with, like, the ring, like, I know it's a beautiful ring, but it's like, I would have rather had, like, a Kelly bag. That's so bad. Oh my god. I don't mean that. I don't mean that. Um, like, I do mean that, though. Like, because I don't need the ring. Like, a lot of girls like to have this ring, and I wear it because, one, it's the most expensive thing in the world that I own, and it's massive, and it's huge, and it's like, bam, bitches. And it's beautiful. And I know that Garrett, like, took the time and picked it out, and it's very, like, amazing that he would do something like that for me. But it's just a piece of jewelry, like, I'd rather have, like, if I had to pick between the ring and Garrett, of course I'd pick Garrett. If I had to pick between the ring and a Kelly bag, of course I'd pick the Kelly bag. But, I don't know. So basically, that's my wedding story, and the lack thereof a wedding story. And I know that I ranted a long time, and I know that it's a lot of information for some of you who probably don't care, but please stay tuned to my channel. definitely subscribe because I have an amazing video coming up tomorrow. I'm just waiting for the FedEx guy to come so that I can uh, get the box. It's going to be an unboxing of an amazing bag, so make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you know that that video is up. And thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye!